Oh, the sand just went in my face then. Oh, oh. So welcome to this bus ride from Minehead to Lynmouth in North Devon. And it's supposed to be one of the most scenic bus rides in the whole of the UK. So our starting point is at Minehead, which is famous, of course, for the Butlins holiday camp, which opened in 1962. And it's also the starting point for the South West Coast Path, which is 630 miles long, and goes right round past Land's End and around to Studland in Dorset. And the bus travels along the seafront before turning through the town centre of Minehead. And then once out from Minehead, it starts to get some lovely views then. Just going over the top of this hill, you get a fantastic view of Exmoor National Park. And to the left is Dunkery Beacon, which is the highest point on Exmoor, at 519 metres high. So that's Bossington Hill there, which is over 200, about 241 metres high, I think. Now this steep little lane now, this is one way. This will take us down to the village of Porlock. It's a lovely little village, full of old traditional shops and buildings. As you can see, Porlock's streets are very narrow. It's full of traditional shops, have traditional butchers, quite a few pubs there, eating places, and a nice little walk-in camping shop which we've bought things from many a time, which is always handy. Lovely thatched cottages and the beautiful old church. The yellow building on the right is Myrtle Cottage, where we've stayed before in the past. Lovely little B&B. And the yellow house in front used to be a shop, believe it or not. The road that goes off to the right there goes to Porlock Weir, another great location to go visit. And the second road off to the right takes you on a toll road, which bypasses the infamous Porlock Hill, which we're going to start going up now. So the toll road is a bit like the roads you see in the south of France or Italy, like lots of hairpin bends. You see I'm looking a bit worried there. And this is probably the steepest part of the whole hill. This is a 25% curve. The bus has to go very wide round. I think it's letting something pass, a van first before proceeding. But the bit on the inside is incredibly steep. Going up is not too bad, but coming down is the scary part, I think. So going up that first bend wasn't too bad. It's coming down is what I'm looking forward to. It's going really slow. This is like walking pace now. Now as we get higher and higher, the view starts to open up. Now we're approaching the second bend, which while not as steep as the first one, is still pretty hair-raising, and as once again you can see that the bus has to take the whole road up just to get around it as it doubles back on itself. So that's the two double bends over with now. It's just carrying on a steady climb up now. So Porlock Hill climbs 221 metres in just over 1.5 kilometres, making it the steepest gradient in any A road in the UK. So with no run up, it goes from sea level to over 400 metres at the very top of the hill. The road was opened around 1843 and first climbed in a car in 1900. It was part of an early effort to promote the motor car, and the owner won a £50 bet. Now we're starting to descend towards Linton and Lynmouth. This is Countisbury Hill, and we're just going to be going through the little hamlet of Countisbury. And the top of the hill we were just then was 298 metres high, so it's quite a drop down to sea level now. On the left is part of the East Lynn River. You can see how steep the valley goes down. We've walked down there many a time. Parked at Countisbury, and you can walk down a path which takes you right down into Lynmouth. And now probably the most hair-raising part of the journey. It just suddenly opens up, and with no barriers, the sea is on our right and the cliffs just fall dramatically down. You wouldn't want to lose control of your car going down here. See Linton in the distance. That's looking back towards Foreland Point. A couple of parking spaces if you want to take a quick picture. The last part of the journey descends through some woods. This part is extremely steep as well. I think this is around 20% this hill. There was an escape road then on the left, which is a road you'll drive up if you've lost control of your car. And this is the beautiful little town of Lynmouth now. And the bus will pull in on the left. So, I've made it to Lynmouth. That was quite a hairy ride. Very enjoyable though. It made a change because normally I drive here and I don't get to see half the scenery. So, oh, look at this behind. Isn't that gorgeous? So here in Lynmouth, you can see the flood water line from the devastating flood of 1952. So it's quite early in the morning, it's just gone 9 o'clock, so most things are closed at the moment. Even though it's the end of May, it's very quiet. And there's an art gallery somewhere along here. Somebody's been here for years. It's quite a unique style of paintings. Yeah, here's the gallery here. This has been here for years and years. And it's quite a distinct style of painting. Some of these prints are going back a long way. I remember seeing these in the 1990s, I think. So I don't know what that is on the left. but it looks to me like a giant torpedo. So this little tower is called the Rhenish Tower. It's from the 19th century, and it's got its name as it's said to resemble a tower on the River Rhine in Germany. It was built as a beacon to guide mariners. So in late 1885 a major project was proposed which included the construction of a solid pier, an esplanade and a lift from the said pier or promenade to Linton. The pier to extend 112 yards into the sea was intended to enable the resort to attract a bigger share of the growing steam excursion traffic. Many of the paddle steamers had not been calling at Lynmouth, where passengers had to be ferried ashore in small boats, instead visiting Ilfracombe, where tourists could easily disembark at the deep water pier. Oh, that's an incredible place, even though everything's closed, because I've come quite early in the morning. It's just so hilly. And you can see the cliff railway there, which will hopefully be going on soon when it opens. The construction of an esplanade, which survives today, was to start from a point near the Rhenish Tower and provide access to the pier. The proposed lift would make it possible to carry up to Linton large groups of people that would be landed from the steamers to the new pier at the new pier. The Walker sculpture signifies the meeting points of 4 national trails: the Coleridge Way, the Two Moors Way, South West Coast Path and the Tarka Trail. In the 19th century, the high cliffs separating Linton from Lynmouth were a major obstacle to economic development. The twin villages mainly relied on sea transport because land travel was extremely difficult over Exmoor. Coal, lime, foodstuffs and other essentials arrived at Lynmouth in sailing vessels, but this freight had to be carried by pack horses or in horse-drawn carts up the steep hill to Linton. The cliffs also posed problems for the growing tourist industry. In the mid-1820s, holiday makers began to arrive at Lynmouth on paddle steamers from Bristol, but a daunting hill faced those who decided to walk up to Linton. Ponies and donkeys could be hired at 6 pence a time, but the steep gradients severely tested the unfortunate animals. So this is one of just 3 water-powered lifts in the world. This cliff-straddling railway started life as a practical solution to the economic restrictions imposed by the sheer cliff face that separates Linton and Lynmouth on the North Devon coast. Prior to the railway's completion in 1890, the passage of goods between Lynmouth, a pretty village and harbour, and Linton, which emerged above the sheer cliff face that contained the growth of its coastal twin, was laborious. Pack horses and donkeys strained to ascend a punishingly steep gradient, slowing the progress of goods and harming Lynmouth's burgeoning tourist trade. The funicular railway, designed by the civil engineer George Croydon and financed by his business partner Sir George Newnes, provided a solution. Cutting a vertical path through the sheer limestone cliff face that separates Lynmouth and Linton, the resulting lift employs an ingenious water-powered pulley system to transport passengers up and down the cliff. It's fair to say that this unique railway has stood the test of time. Opened in 1890, the lift has been in continuous use ever since and remains a unique and laudable example of eco-friendly engineering. Okay, that was quick then, wasn't it? So now I'm up into the village of Lynmouth. Have a little look round there now. So this must be one of the loveliest town halls I've ever seen. Amazing building. It was built in 1900, I believe. Of course, Lynmouth has its usual array of touristy shops, gift shops, that sort of thing, eating places, and a lovely little steep lane with little shops in. This beautiful building is the Valley of the Rocks Hotel, which was built in 1807. Rather than take the railway back down to the bottom, I thought I'd walk down, and you can just slowly see the ever-changing views. On Friday, the 15th of August 1952, Lynmouth suffered what could be described as the worst river flood in English history. So on that day, just over 9 inches of rain fell. Added in the 6 inches of rain that had already fallen in the first 2 weeks of August, it was no surprise that the top of Exmoor was unable to absorb the rainfall and was totally overwhelmed. Consequently, many tons of water, soil, boulders and vegetation descended through the narrow valleys. So the West Lynn River rose 60 feet above the normal level. So the amount of water that fell in that day would supply the water needs of Lynmouth's total population for 108 years. This aerial picture of the village shows the true devastation of what really happened that night. 34 people in the area lost their lives, and there is a memorial showing all their names. So that's it for my time in Linton and Lynmouth. That was just a quick look round. I'm back on the bus now, and we're going to see some views going back towards Minehead now. I'm a bit worried because on the seats are bits of trees, so I think there's going to be some trees overhanging and we might have to duck a few times. Well, that was quite a bus right there. I'm back here in Minehead and the wind has really picked up now. Cool, it's blowing a gale. So what did I think of the bus ride? Well, for £2 you couldn't really complain, could you? That was really good value for money. £2 each way, that's what it was. It would have cost a lot more than that in my car, and it did make a nice change. So in the past I would always take the car to Lynmouth. So this gave me a chance to look at the nice scenery and just relax. But the bus driver did go fast at times, and you did have to duck. Got hit in the face with bump as you saw. There were pieces of branch all over the seats and that, so there was a bit of a warning of what was to come. But yeah, that was really definitely worth doing. Right, I'm just going to get out of this wind now. See you next time, guys.